everybody, and welcome to Shooting the Ish. Today we have an Eva Essandoh. Hello, Eva.
Hello, guys.
How you doing?
How's everyone doing today?
Hi, Eva.
So, Eva, what's going on with you? You got some website going here.
Yeah, we do. It's called M.A.D.E, NYC. It's a online magazine that caters to Generation Y. So everyone born from 1980 to 1998 would fall under that category.
Why do people feel the need to classify generations, and what makes us so different?
I think everyone classifies each generation to show the progression or a possible decline. Our generation in particular has been under the spotlight because there are a lot of issues going on, especially with employment, student loans, high debt. It's a lot of stuff going on that's not really good for our generation. A lot of us feel trapped in our financial situations at the moment and can't seem to find a way out.
I know. It's kind of crazy to think that many of us won't pay off our student loans forever till death.
Or even be able to purchase a home. Like a lot of the things that our parents had before us, we wouldn't be able to acquire. The majority of us won't be able to acquire.
Very true. That's why I only went to city colleges for 2 years.
Hey, there you go.
It's kind of crazy. Like when I look at my grandparents, and granted they were very hard workers. They probably had a house when they were they were probably pretty young by the time they started being a homeowner.
Yeah, early 20s, probably like 21, 20 even. I mean, things were very different back then.
And now you can have 3 jobs and still be poor.
And still be broke. I mean, it's all about strategy at this point. Everything that you were told growing up is pure trash. Just because you go to a 4-year school or you go to Ivy League school, wherever the hell you went to, it's not going to guarantee you shit. I mean,
you could have an Ivy League degree and be homeless. And
the guy that, went to City College or whatever and knew what he wanted to do, knew what she wanted to do is, starting their own business. And quite frankly, startups are now, the money makers in this economy. Everything traditional has gone out the window.
Yeah, I guess we have that image of the 50s in our mind that's like, congratulations, son, you got a degree? I'm a big pharmaceutical calling to offer you a job.
But that's not us. I mean, it's not our voice. It's our parents' voices in our heads saying those things.
And a lot of times,
because if you really think about it, a lot of us people didn't want to go to college, but you went to college because your parents told you to, or that was the next step in the grand scheme of things. You go to high school, you automatically go to college.
The other thing is that a lot of our parents didn't even go to college. They were freaking high in the 70s. So what do they even know about this topic?
But in their heads, going to college, higher education is better for my son or daughter. So they had that idea in their heads, and they pushed it on us. And now, all that
we're paying
stuff,
for it.
Exactly, we're literally paying for it. If you can pay for it,
Yeah, this is like the American nightmare.
American nightmare. Forget the American dream. It's the American nightmare.
So what do we got to do? What are we going to do about this?
Well, basically, you have to take some personal responsibility. Yes, a lot of us are angry. A lot of us feel that you're misinformed or whatever. You take the time to get over it and get your shit together. Your loans are not going to go away. You have to come up with a realistic plan on how to pay them off, come up with a plan on how to pay it off monthly, whatever you have to do.
Right.
Now, you don't have to pay it off all at once. It's impossible. Come up with a payment that you're comfortable with. I personally pay $100 a month. I don't give a shit. If I'm making a payment, it's bringing my credit score to good standing because I'm making payments.
Now, okay, let's say I'm a guy who just got out of college. Let's say I got out of college 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
Nothing's going on. Obviously, I'm not going to go back to college to get another degree I can't use.
Exactly.
The degree in my field is not working out. Tell me some advice on what I should do right now without any college to quickly be in a position where I am making money and am saving and doing, like, what field should we get into or what direction should we go in that case?
Well, I mean, that's the mistake right there. A lot of people do is you ask other people what you should be doing. You need to sit down and actually sit with yourself and meditate and be like, what the fuck do I want to do? And don't just say, I don't have time to think about this, I have to make money. You're broke anyway.
I noticed that about diets. Like, it's not good to read anybody's diet book because that's just what...
No, it's not yours. It's you have a different situation. No two bodies are the same. No two minds are the same. Everyone is different. Your situations are different. You need to figure out what you want to do, what you want to do with your life, what you're comfortable with. You cannot go based on Brian's plan or Eva's plan or George's plan. You have to go based on yours.
You know.
Especially Brian.
Whatever. So you kind of have to ask yourself, where do you see yourself literally in not even 10 years, 2 years from now? What the hell are you going to be doing with your life?
All right, so let's test us all out, and let's see what you think of our answers.
Okay.
George, what do you think you're going to be doing in 5 to... What are we doing, 5 years or 10 years?
Within, 3 years. Don't even go too far.
Okay,
3 years.
3 years. George, you're up.
I really... I've thought about this, and I will probably be working in some sort of diner.
Brian, shut up, Brian.
I'm sorry, my assignment.
Yes, his assignment is messed up. No, by the time I'm 30, I'm 27 now, right? By the time I'm 30, I'm planning on either being dead or being a household name.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going to be making money as an actor for sure. It's going to be on my way to becoming a household name. So by the time I'm in my mid-30s, I will be a staple in Hollywood.
Okay, so, you have a plan. Now, granted, if you told this to anyone in a traditional setting, like your parents they'd be, your head is in the clouds. You don't have a real plan. But you know what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Okay? So you're head fast on doing that. Your plan is not going to be the same as my plan or Chris's plan. You know what the fuck you want to do. You know how to get there. At this point, you cannot use anyone else as a consultant. Look at America in general. We're all fucked. That's like saying someone who has a credit score of 2 talking to someone that has an 850 credit score talking about you need to do this to increase your wealth. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We have one friend like that.
Crazy. You know?
Right. You're saying that the current landscape is so screwed up that you might as well shoot for your dreams, because why not?
Why not? What do you have to lose? You're fucked anyway. You're fucked. If you fuck up, you're like, you know what? I did it on my own. I didn't listen to anyone else, and I did it. It was my decision. Because so far people have been making decisions for us, and it didn't really turn out that great.
Yeah, a lot of people, just work a steady job to get the health insurance. You'd think when Obamacare comes around, we're going to have millions of new actors and music artists in this country.
Who knows? At this point, I feel like we're just pioneers at this point because there's no rule book. The old rule book doesn't work. Traditional rule book, it doesn't work with our generation. It doesn't fit. All the practices, even when you go to a job now, an employer can actually look at your Facebook or your LinkedIn, not even LinkedIn anymore. They look at your Facebook or any other social and look at that as your resume. Things have changed the game. The rules have changed with this game, and you just have to roll with it or just get left behind.
That begs the question, does your employer see your Fergie song on your MySpace?
They can't really judge me on my MySpace. That was during my college years. They'll basically base whatever's going on during Facebook, which was almost post-college and up till now. And I'm not afraid of anything on my Facebook.
All right.
Yeah, you should get rid of your MySpace.
Okay. Awesome. I'm glad you feel that way.
MySpace. I thought MySpace was extinct. You still have it?
MySpace is dead. I haven't gone on there in so long.
Do you have any glitter on your page? Any glitter graphics?
I don't even remember, actually.
If you sign on, you might find that one friend that's been waiting for you to sign on for a couple of years.
Maybe.
There you are.
Probably have some messages that I forgot to.
I've been waiting for you.
Loyal. That's a funny character, the loyal MySpace friend.
Oh God!
It's like the puppy. It's like the dog who waits at the owner's grave at the. All right, this is getting too morbid.
This is getting really.
Okay, Brian, tell Eva your 3-year plan and see if she scolds you or commends you.
A what?
She's probably gonna scold you just because of who you are. But anyway, tell her your 3-year plan.
Well, the only reason she would scold me because I didn't stick with her in terms of getting certain ventures off the ground. And in terms of where I would be,
I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that because it's only detrimental to you. I'm still gonna make my money. But, I was disappointed.
That dagger is sharp.
I'm not losing sleep over it, Brian.
Damn right. That's why I'm on Eva's team. So get out of here, Brian.
You got your team.
Thank you.
Team Eva.
Hey, are you gonna have any M.A.D.E NYC T-shirts?
Yeah, actually we have I mean, I don't know if you're joking or not, but I'm being
serious.
Yeah,
like booty shorts or something like that.
Booty shorts? I don't think
like a T-shirt.
T-shirts, yes. This one guy that he makes sunglass frames wants to make frames for us for one of the fashion shows in 2015. We're gonna have. So there's a lot of things that we're gonna be doing. Yeah, but booty shorts, I don't think that'll be on the list.
Think about it. They're very comfortable.
Okay,
Brian, what's your plan? And
Chris has boxers that have now turned into booty shorts.
Oh, wow. I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that. And like a motorcycle with those kids. That would be hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Or like him sitting in his booty shorts eating a big bowl of cereal. That would be hilarious.
Enough about me. Brian, what's your plan?
Yeah, the hell. I don't think anyone cares about me at this point.
You're right,
I mean,
still
if
say
we
it anyway.
didn't care, we wouldn't be asking you, Brian. I think you're stalling at this point.
You're damn right I am. Anyway, I predict that in 3 years I'll be in 2 unions. One with the Teamsters over at my job, and I'll join SAG after.
All right, Brian. So your plan is to basically be unionized. So that means you've been fired so many times that you need to get with jobs that you cannot be fired. Brian?
Are you finished? Oh, yeah.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah. What would you say about Brian's union plan, Eva?
I mean, there's nothing, he has a pretty solid plan. I mean, I think he's just reaching for things that are really tangible to him at the moment. It's not a lot of risk involved. So, I mean, it's something that could be attained. It's a goal that could be attained. So, he's not really taking any kind of risk at this moment. He's being safe.
And we're not going to even get into your plan because it will intimidate everyone.
What?
We know you guys.
I think we do want to hear it.
My plan? Oh, I plan on retiring by the age of 40. I'm not working past 40.
Wow.
Good luck.
I don't need luck. I have common sense.
Even better.
Wow, look at that.
Even better.
There's something
I told you you're going to intimidate Brian.
I'm not
There's some
intimidated.
things you have to give up. Some things you have to sacrifice. Not everyone can do it.
I just got to save up on an engagement ring. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. Gotta wait in line, my friend.
Wow.
Of what, 2? Kidding.
Look, I think in this new day and age, people are going to start finding women with a good head on their shoulders more attractive than the princess who's not going to do anything when, both people need to kind of work or have some kind of plan in these days.
I mean, that's a lot of people lose sight of that. Like, when you get married, it's a partnership. Like, you don't just sit on your ass because you never know what's going to happen. What if they lose their job or you have children involved too? What are you going to do? You're setting yourself up for failure.
Right. No more pay.
There has to be a plan.
And men, no more Al Bundys. We need.
Aww.
Yeah.
I love that too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. Okay, here's my plan. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
In 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I want to be happy and I want to be healthy.
3 years. Okay. Which is great, which sounds very optimistic, but it's very hard to be happy when you're broke. and when things are not working out. So what is your tangible plan? Like, where do you see yourself, like,
oh, yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be happy in that situation, so I do what it takes to make me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual exact plan doesn't truly matter to me.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I mean, right now you have a lot of projects going on, right? I know George was talking to me about a project you're doing with him now.
Oh, yeah, I want to do movie things and film things and all that stuff.
Do you want to be a director?
I'm not going to say, like, oh, if this doesn't get done, then I'm going to flip out. Because on my day-to-day life, I am such a control freak with certain things that I cannot be that way in the long term, because I know with the way that things are changing so fast, I can't say exactly when things are going to happen.
This exercise is not to, because things happen. You can make plans and lists, and life happens and sucks all that shit up. This is just to show, like, where your head is at currently. And based on your answers, it'll show you, like, okay, well, are you serious about what you're doing? Or is it just like, I'll try this out and see where it goes?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a decent gig right now that doesn't make sense to leave.
Yeah, financially, it's helping you do what you're trying to do on the side.
I'm kind of in an interesting situation where I don't exactly love what I'm doing, but I've found that I'm successful at it. And I found that with success comes a little bit of happiness, but then again, there's another sort of happiness that comes with winging it. So it's kind of like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of confusing, because it's like, wait a second, I've found a level of success here that maybe it's not what I want to do, but I'm really freaking good at it.
Yeah, I mean, you're good at it, and it's a stable income, which is very important to have when you are trying to fund projects.
Right.
On the side. So it's definitely a part of your plan. But it's not something you want to do for the rest of your life.
I can't say that when I close my eyes I picture myself working in that situation, but on a day-to-day basis I don't hate it. I actually kind of reap the rewards of it and the benefits.
You appreciate it.
I kind of get praised by my bosses, and I don't think I deserve it any more than other coworkers, but I guess I'm doing something that is leading me to some sort of success, even though I might not appreciate it right now. So sometimes I got to take a step back and say, maybe I should shut my mouth
and appreciate it, because it's doing something, it's helping you on in some way.
Well, Chris, I'll take the compliments than being quote unquote shitted on by my bosses, even though I do most of the work. So it is what it is.
I mean, when you have a boss, you know, you're always going to be on the bottom. So
I just don't need to be reminded by them.
You don't need to be reminded, but the sad fact of it is, whoever has the money can talk all the shit that they want to.
You know what I find, though, Brian? And maybe it's just because you're a quiet guy. I found that my boss used to be aggressive at me until I became aggressive with him in a vocal way, like, what about this? What about this? When are we going to do this? When are we going to do this? So now, you know, not in a bad way, I don't disrespect him, but I kind of put it into a position where it's saying, I know what's going on and I want more of it. Where are we at? Let me know, you know? So
it gives the idea that you're aware of what's going on and you're actively trying to be productive.
Yeah, sometimes when you don't talk, people assume things about you, whereas you, I'm not saying talk too much like chit-chat, but
no, I know.
You know, when you get everything out there in the air, sometimes it's kind of like they know you're on the same page as them, if that makes sense.
Right.
But then I've also dealt with shitheaded bosses that I've had to kind of been like, if they're picking on people, like personnel, I would probably, you know, I guess I would kind of, you know, I've gotten in situations with a grimy boss where I've acted grimy as well.
Oh.
But hey, whatever. But I know what Brian's saying.
What are you gonna do? I mean, supervisors, bosses, they're people too, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're working at McDonald's and the boss is having a power trip, you gotta be like, what the hell?
Like, whoa, pump the brakes.
Yeah, come on.
All right.
Like if you're doing if you're getting your third job of the day and you got 3 bosses throughout the day, I guess that's a little.
Oh my God, that's intense.
But I guess that's why, that's the good thing. I would say that's the good thing about working multiple jobs, because in the old days, let's say you got a long-term opportunity at a place that, did things that made you not feel good at the end of the day. You'd never know because you'd be none the wiser. But, having multiple jobs, you were able to see what worked, what didn't.
What's good.
It's kind of like someone who dates a lot. They're probably better at being in a relationship, I guess.
Not necessarily.
No,
I don't know about all that.
Well, they're better at talking to people. I don't know. I kind of feel like
you could be a people person without dating someone, because dating.
Okay, maybe it's a bad analogy. I guess what I'm saying is that I learned to appreciate what was a good job and what was a bad job.
Because you were exposed to so many.
I guess so.
But it's a good asset too with a lot of, with work in general. We have friends that did not really work during college and can't find a job, can't find a full-time job because they have no experience of working anywhere.
I always have an immigrant's mentality. I'm afraid I don't know.
I have immigrant parents, and it's like you start working as soon as you possibly can start working.
Yeah, George, you started working at 11 or something, right? Something crazy. I think I started working at 12.
Yeah,
I started working at the age of 16.
I started working officially at the age of 16 on the books.
On the books, right. On the books, yeah. But unofficially, I started babysitting when I was 12.
Right,
I was straight cash.
And that's the good thing about, family. That's, I guess, the great thing about family is that you get a jump start if you're exposed to some sort of family business or something like that.
You have to. Look what's happened. You have no experience. You go for an interview. They don't give a shit about internships. You can have so many internships. They don't care.
So now,
the actual job.
So now what is it, Eve, about Generation Y? Is it that one thing affects the other? Is that everything's interconnected? For instance, is it a lazy party mentality? Is it that there's no job? Is it that there's been a breakdown of the family years ago? What's going on here? Half of us are from divorce at this point.
It just seems like a lot of things have contributed to our downfall. You have technology, which is a great asset for us. We grew up on it and made life easier, but it kind of did make us a little lazy.
Right.
I mean, look, there's no human interaction whatsoever. It's affected dating. It's affected our professional lives. I mean, just look at it. I mean, the story we spoke about in our other segment with 10 people on a train and no one notices a gun being waved. It's kind of scary to think that we're so saturated and so it's crazy. It's like we're almost robots in a way. And that's not good at all.
Now, how is I mean, let's talk about socialization on the net, and then let's segue that into dating and the problems that affect our generation, I guess. First, let's go with the social media stuff. Mm-hmm. What is it? What is this fascination with social media? Why are we doing things that, any other culture at any other time, past, present, or future, would say is silly? Why would you expose your private information? Why would you need to seek the approval of people that aren't even reading this stuff? Or
it's just everyone wants to be a star. Everyone wants to be noticed. Everyone wants to be praised for something, for doing nothing. And social media and technology has made this easy for us to do. You can become an instant star or instant sensation within 24 hours with YouTube for doing absolutely nothing, just something completely.
Yeah, that's Booger. That's the guy who eats his boogers. That's the old man who eats his boogers. He's famous.
Completely gross.
And then sometimes it's not even so much doing something great, but doing something terrible just to get noticed. Because now look at the mass shootings that we have now. You didn't have them, in the past 30 years, one after the other.
People crave attention. People are craving attention. And,
and the thing is that.
Now let's bring that full circle. Is that because mommy's at work? I don't know.
The whole thing about that too is again with social media. When was the last time you had a full-on conversation, phone conversation with someone without sending a text message? It's just a quick way to be done, get to the point, and I'm done with this conversation. Right. You're not going to be held hostage by the voice on the other line because you can end a text message conversation whenever you want.
But at the same time, it makes people less confrontational because if you kept calling you on the phone, you'd say, hey, fuck off.
Yeah, but now you just be like, I'm just not going to answer them, and they'll get the point that this conversation's over.
It's all aggressive stuff. It doesn't. It misses the mark. It misses the point for those who don't feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's very shady. It seems more shady.
And then, I mean, really think about it. We talk about the issue with dating, how it's become such a problem with our generation. But if you look at a lot of factors here, it's not really a surprise. Look back at high school, junior high. Most of our friends or their parents or our parents have been divorced. The divorce rate is at an all-time high. We have no respect for or any kind of appreciation for marriage. No one really cares about it in our generation, really.
Well, is it that people are waiting or they're afraid to make the wrong choice, or is it just that they're smart and say, I'm not going to do it till I'm 40?
I'm not going to do it until I'm 40 because I've witnessed how bad a marriage could be when it's rushed into, or some people just don't have any interest in being married. They just don't have any respect for it. Because a lot of kids have grown up with single moms, single dads, and they're just used to that.
Shit, I don't want to go through all that again.
Exactly. Why volunteer myself to go through something like that?
What do you guys think?
Respect for marriage.
You do?
I mean, oh my God. Unbelievable. This guy's a clown. But when we think about it, it's true. No one really cares.
I mean, let's talk about, I guess, online dating. How it first came out, it was seen as like a weird thing, but ever since it hit apps, it seemed like, oh, it's right in my hand.
It's a norm.
You know, what is that?
It's a norm now. Before, it's different for men and women because, you know, a woman has to be more careful, you would think, back then. But I think it goes for both. I mean, there are crazy bitches out there that can easily have you robbed or killed.
Yeah. It has,
you know, you have to be careful.
Exciting.
So another reason why a lot of people don't go with this option is because they rather date people within their circle because they will most likely have the same interests as them. They know this person. They're not really going online to meet some creep in possibly in an alley. I don't know. It's just too many different dangerous factors with that option.
It's weird, yeah, because then I've also met a bunch of people who've gotten married from meeting people online, and they seem very happy.
Yeah, you do have the exception. You do have the exception where there are success stories, and then you have the other side, which is not so successful. You have people that go online and say, I'm never going to do this again. Like, people are crazy. You don't know who you're talking to on the other side of the screen.
Well, I guess it all is just like, you're not going to meet a nice girl at the bar, but you're going to meet a nice girl at the library. Whereas, like, online, it's like, well, you're not going to meet a nice girl on Craigslist, but if you go on you might do that.
The problem. It's kind of like you have to test the field of what works for you. Some people, online dating works, and some people it doesn't. Other people, you hang out with a group of friends, and they have an acquaintance. You get introduced, and whatever. It works that way. You're more comfortable with that setting. You trust this person because they were referred by a friend. Whatever. It just depends on how you approach the situation.
There's, I guess, some of this stuff, and I'm glad that you're doing this, and it seems like our generation's voice is coming out now, and, even stuff that we've shot out here has had that kind of flair, that Generation Y flair, and I see it now a lot with films coming out. They're starting to have the voices of us come out in a way, and start, bringing these issues to light. I think Disconnect, I don't know if you saw that movie Disconnect earlier this year. That was a really good one.
I haven't seen that.
The movie made about Facebook was pretty good.
That was good, and that was an example of startups, and that's what we spoke about earlier. Startup companies are blossoming because, individuals will start to emerge. I don't want to work for someone for the rest of my life. Right. I've seen what it's done to my parents. Elderly people are going back to work because they're, it's just, I don't want to work until the day I die. It's not in the plan for me. Some people will be comfortable with that because it's steady income. They know what's going to happen day to day, and they want to live that way. But you need to wake up. That job is not guaranteed. If they want to fire you tomorrow, they can fire you tomorrow.
Right. Now, I don't want to make this all negative and self-deprecating because obviously we're talking about the challenges.
right.
that approach us. And the three of us on this in this show could sometimes be grumpy, pessimistic frickers. But let's talk about our positives, and let's talk about some solutions, and let's talk about things that we have done or that you could see us already doing better than our parents' generation.
Well, one big thing that I see is different from our parents' generation is that we're willing to take risks, and we're willing to start something new and build something instead of, falling slave to working for a big corporation. Like, we have dreams. We're innovators. Mark Zuckerberg and all these other people that took the time to start their own company. And I'm sure that, there were people that hated on them and told them it's not a good idea. You're not being realistic. This is what separates the followers from the leaders. And with this generation, it's like, we don't want to settle. We want something better for ourselves. And it's kind of causing like a rift between the generations, but it's also showing growth.
I was talking with my dad about this. Now, granted, he's a pretty cool guy, but I said there's a lot of people in your generation that are money driven. And I think it's almost a reflection of, well, obviously video games weren't as big back then. He made the point that they played outside a lot more, and of course that's true. But if you look at Pac-Man and a lot of the Donkey Kong and a lot of these old arcade games, it was always repetitive work to get the most points. Whereas when we grew up, we played Super Mario and Zelda and things that the goal was specifically to get to the goal. So we seem to be more like individual specific goal driven and less about accruement. And I think that kind of butts heads, because I think the parent generation that we have is saying, well, how much money are you going to make doing that? Nothing? You're a bum. There's that voice we have in our head that we're kind of like, which kind of makes us feel like we're in an eternal state of childhood, but at the same time is ambitious and is, like a dreamer.
Yeah, but this is the ambitious generation, and it's like I said, we're pioneers right now. There's no rule book at this moment. You cannot use the old rule book, the traditional rule book, because it does not work. So we're kind of building it now. We're kind of like building it, adding things, taking things away, see what works. And, when you're doing this, you're going to be criticized, of course. But, it just comes with the territory. What do you have to lose? You're not doing anything else. What is your alternative?
Is there anything that we do better socially than previous generations? Because that seems to be the biggest criticism of us.
The biggest criticism is social. Like George mentioned before, social media is a devil, basically, but it's a double-edged sword, just like technology. It helps build the businesses that are of the future. Everything is through social media now. Nothing is the way it used to be as far as doing business. Social media is business.
Well, let's take business. Let's just talk about specific social personality. Is there anything personality-wise we do better or different that's in a positive
we approach things. We think outside the box. That's something our previous generation couldn't really grasp. I would give that to us as well. We do think out of the box and think of alternative strategies. And I think that's because we have more of a creative mind with this generation. But as far as personally, it's just, it's hard to pinpoint, actually, what our good points are. We have a lot of good points as far as, it may sound weird, but it's kind of like, I don't know.
We're more understanding of people from other tribes. Let's put it that way. People of other walks of life.
More open. We're more open to other ideas. We're not as narrow-minded, if you want to say, as opposed to our previous generations, which is a good point. We're open to listen to other people's sides and arguments and what have you. So that's good. But what I've noticed is, especially growing up in New York, a lot of my friends or a lot of my coworkers are first generation from immigrant parents or overseas. Like I know, Brian, where are your parents are Jamaican? Were they born in Jamaica?
Yes, how'd you know?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, George's parents are from Greece, or George's dad is George, were both of your parents born in Greece?
My dad was born there. My mom was born in New York. She lived in Greece for a little while, but my dad came over when he was about 10.
Okay.
Okay. So you have like a mixed household.
And then on my dad's side, my grandparents were from overseas, and then my great-grandparents I guess I'm the most American of all of you. America.
America.
Oh, I guess I'm like third. I guess that would make me like third generation or something like that.
Well, I'm first generation because my parents came straight from another country, so I'm first here. Brian's first generation.
Brian came straight from another planet, so he's 0 generation.
Okay. Yeah. George is second generation because his mom was born in New York. And it kind of gives you the advantage of seeing the different generations in different perspectives.
It's good also to have your own culture. Aside from American culture, because it's not good to grow up only knowing about Miley Cyrus and not about traditional stuff.
It kind of gives you it gives you another perspective, and I think that's helpful. Because my parents, when they came here, it's all about education, and you kind of grow up with that staple in your life and structure. And you notice how different your childhood is as opposed to your friends.
You could see all your parents' dreams and do all the... Yeah, it's very interesting because your life is so drastically different from theirs, but you could still understand what they wanted for you and why they came.
Right. And it kind of sticks with you and how it molds your path through life. It does have an effect on you and how you look at things. So I think that's where I get my drive from.
I think the one good thing, a couple things. I think what this generation is starting to do is learn some lessons. I don't think Facebook and all of this stuff will be used in such nonsense ways in the future. I think everyone's smartening up.
Mm-hmm. So they're tired.
Yeah.
A lot of people are tired, and we're going through this moment where a lot of us are feeling stagnant. Like we can't move anywhere. Like you can't move forward. You can't move. Yeah. You're just stuck. A lot of us have moved back in with our parents, which is not really a comfortable situation, but you're making the sacrifice to save your money and do what you have to do. You cannot afford that apartment in, Williamsburg. You can't afford that apartment in Astoria anymore. You have to move back in with your parents. So
I'm not saying you are, but I guess just for me, I want to remember to not, in these sort of things, not think of the parent generation as dinosaurs. Like, what can we learn from them? That's good,
I would say, the ability to save is a good asset that they would know about. We don't know. If you have someone in that generation, they can teach you how to save and how to, manage your money to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And also, they've lived before you. I mean, there are certain things that they'll be able to tell you or experiences that they've gone through to help you now. Not fully, but I mean, they would have some advice to give you that how to handle future situations that they've already been through. It's always good to talk to an older person. You never know if they can help you with a certain situation now.
One problem I notice for our generation is that we say the word "I" a lot, and when you say the word "I," no one cares. Mm-hmm. Unless it's specific to the conversation or can build a conversation. The word "I" does not matter. Mm-hmm. But I'm guilty of it. We've all done that, like if you're talking about a situation, how does this relate to me? Well, maybe it doesn't matter how it relates to you. Mm. Maybe we could, I see that, of course, a lot in L.A. too, of even older people.
But why do you think that is? I mean, why do you think that is?
I think it's what you're saying. There I go with that I word. I think it's what you're saying, though.
You can't help it at this point.
In that it's that wannabe Hollywood more than ever. Everyone wants to.
Not even Hollywood.
Everyone wants to be that star for some reason.
It's not even a fact of Hollywood. It's just you grew up with your parents, or the majority of us grew up with parents saying, you can be whatever you want to be.
Right.
You're special.
Right.
You're this, you're that. No.
Now, okay, you know what? I agree, because they wanted the best for us, but maybe there was some the beginning of some over.
There's a lot of fluff in there. There was a lot of fluff.
Let's talk about the group of people now that are younger than us by about 10 years. Remember, this is the first crew of people that were exposed to Barney. Think about what Barney is. It's a show that basically goes nowhere and just tells everyone they're all winners and everyone gets a participation trophy.
Everyone gets a prize.
Everyone gets a prize.
Everyone, you still get a star just for participating.
Right. Even I noticed even like games for kids, because look, every kid's playing video games, and I noticed that games got a lot more simpler. You were directed. You were instructed. You were never frustrated. You were moved along a couple of pretty environments, and you were told exactly what to do from a young age. That's a little scary.
Oh, that's a lot scary because you know what? Our generation, yes, we had a little bit of that going on, but at least we're still the startup, generation. We're still the innovators. The generation after us, they are so saturated.
What are they called?
Well, that's Generation Z, but there's no other association with them at the moment right now.
Generation Zombie.
Z. Well, hey, I mean, that's a good one.
No offense to anyone in Generation Zombie out there. But I'm sorry, what were you saying? What were we saying about
generation that looks to Miley Cyrus as a role model?
I mean, whether they like it or not, yeah, I guess that's the message they're being fed.
That's the message, and
we had Britney Spears, but she was sexy at least.
Well, there you go. But you have, look, for example, the little kid that took a flight all the way to Las Vegas because he wanted to live. Granted, like in real life, you wanted to live that life. It's just like, where is this coming from? Like, they can't just, I'm 8 years old, you have common sense to know that this is not real.
Maybe it's just me being older, or maybe me being too judgmental, but it seems like the generation that's specifically about 10 years younger than us has a big laziness problem with things having been done for them, and a big problem with over-mothering.
It's a feeling of entitlement. This is what it's going to turn into. That ugly head is going to rear itself. It's going to be an attitude of entitlement. I shouldn't have to do this, or I shouldn't have to work this hard for this.
Yeah, because I remember when I was 18 doing really stupid things, but they were always in some weird, strange way kind of creative, or they got energy out. But a lot of these guys are just like, it doesn't seem like they have the will to do much. And I'm not speaking for everyone. It's just as we have certain issues with the Facebook stuff, there's a certain amount of that populace that has issues with laziness or entitlement, or mommy's always there and someone's been holding their hand, and
someone's always going to be there, or someone's always going to help me out of the situation, and that's not the case.
Well, look at now. Look at now. No one's getting their welfare check because the government shut down.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example. What are you going to do now? You had no other plan in place. So now you're just going to starve. Or you're just going to run the streets.
What do you think?
In which case, I'll be locking my door.
What do you think is going to happen when the people who are in political power now either get too old or die off, and we take that position? When we get into our 50s, how do you see do you see that at that point there'll be just too much corporate control to really change anything, or do you think we'll have our own little flavor on how rules and laws are made, and what?
I think we'll have more say in how things are done. I mean, our generation, for the most part, is very green, very liberal, very let's take care of the earth and all this other stuff, but it's kind of like we have the knowledge of both worlds. We're kind of torn between, the last generation before us and this new generation. So we have a mix of both views, which could be a great asset. And a lot of people in this generation at that point, with successful startups, would have the money and the backing to make some actual changes.
How do you do a startup? You need a grant, or I don't know.
I mean, a startup. Starting your own business, it's a coin phrase for starting your own business. You can get a lot of grants for it. You can get loans out for it. I personally don't. I wouldn't go with the loan option. Try and have some fundraisers, or get together and go to a lot of networking events with venture capital.
Kickstarter.
Anything. Exactly. Kickstarter's another good one. Try and refrain from taking money from other individuals. because you start to lose a little bit of control with
Okay.
every dollar that you take. So if it's a grant or someone just wants to support your project, great. If you get the amount of money that you need, capitalize on it. Make sure you have a plan to see this money grow and get a return on it. But every option is different for every person, so it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So you're definitely a proponent. You seem like the one that's a proponent of getting out there and getting things done yourself. And I guess that's also something that we're realizing we're going to have to do one way or the other.
You have to make certain sacrifices. I've put my own personal money into my projects. I haven't taken out any loans or anything like that. I've put my own money into my projects, and I'm comfortable with it being that way.
It's scary
at the moment. I had a conversation with someone, and I think it was Ron or something like that, and I went to this fundraiser. There was a lot of lecturing going on, and there were some people that were looking to invest in projects, which is great, but you want to get excited when someone wants to put money into your project. It's a good thing. It's great news. But make sure that you're going into it with full knowledge of the terms and the agreements, what you're giving up, what they're giving up, because it can be tempting to get swept up into that moment and be very careless with the money.
So if I give you a $20 Christmas card and then say I want complete creative control, the answer is no?
Yeah, right.
Most likely, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Brian.
No Christmas card for you. That's it.
No.
I'm ripping this stamp up.
You might have to put a little more than $20 in the envelope.
What would it take, Eva? What would it take for us to buy you out?
Chris, you have to sweeten the deal, my friend. You can't just put like $20 in.
Plus, you get a picture of all of us.
Oh, that's sweet, but still no.
Naked.
Oh, my God.
Oh, she's like, oh, my God, yes. All right, so let's talk real quick before we go. Thanks. This is all very interesting. So let's talk about your website. Your website focuses on this. It's an online magazine.
Yeah, it focuses on financial stability, financial planning. It talks about some fun stuff, relationships, different scenarios we've been through. And I'm sure just in New York alone, we've received some submissions about certain scenarios, which is great. But everyone's story is different. You might take something away from it. You might learn something, and it might just be for pure humor or whatever. On the website, and we also talk about fashion and how to get deals on travel and expenses. So definitely our main goal is to help us get back on our feet, save money, and just try and get our lives together. And it looks like no one was really looking out for our generation at all. So at this point, we just have to look out for each other, network, and take this seriously.
And I guess that's why this generation has certain feelings towards authority or more government, is that we saw that we were set up to fail. A lot of people feel like they were set up to fail. You were told a lot of things about what to do to achieve success, but those were not true when you crossed over, when you were ready.
It's kind of like you crossed over.
You were like, all right. I got my new shoes, and I got this degree, and I got
this nice spiffy tie.
It's my office. Here you go. Here's a shovel. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Or worse comes to worse, like you've been with the company for 30 years, and all you get from your retirement is a watch, and that's it.
You're lucky if you get the watch. You're lucky you get to keep your job. How about that? You're lucky to get to keep your job. Because a lot of people have been laid off, my friends. Don't forget that. They've worked for this company for a long time.
Check this out.
Hey, I've been in the front lines. I've seen it.
And when they cut you, they don't care. They meet you with a guard at the door. Clear your
jet. Before you even want, your ID doesn't work.
I saw that. Oh, yeah.
And
why does
it out?
There's been times when the security guards at work have be like, just something that was going on, like, oh, we're going to repave the roads tomorrow. But when they approached me, I'm like, what's up, man?
What do you want? What do you want right now?
What's going on? I've seen a girl go on vacation for 2 weeks and the company fire her the second she got back. So obviously, indication she's going to get fired. I've seen departments after 20 years be wiped out with no meeting or no morale boosting meeting.
I've seen VPs, and it doesn't matter who you are. They will come in and be like, "You're done." That's it. They will give you no inkling as to what's about to happen because they don't want people acting crazy at work, and they'll just drop the bomb.
Check this out. My company kind of screwed up last week with that. They told the guy, I guess they told the night guy he was moving to day shift, but they didn't tell the day shift he was moving anywhere, so the writing was on the wall. So all of a sudden, Mr. Day Shift now this guy's a bit of an oddball. He gets a call from the office, come into the office. So he knows he's going to get canned. So he goes in there, he says, okay, and he goes home. He's been working there for 11 or 12 years. Goes home. Now work calls him. The computer seems to be password protected. He goes, yep, I'm not getting it till I get my severance. So dumb move. Dumb move. Because why wouldn't they give you? Now they might screw you.
Yeah, now they might be like, you know what, guy? We paid millions of dollars. Like, we can get a tech guy to crack this. But now you want to be an asshole.
So they threatened to sue him or put him to jail or whatever. So he said, all right, the password is fired. But you know what? You can't get emotional because your end could come at any time. I see people putting all sorts of flowers and pictures of their family at the desk. My desk is ready to go. I am ready to go. In fact, any email that I need anything I need to have is in my pocket by the time I leave.
Oh my God.
That's just how I am. I'm ready to go. I'm not afraid. And please let me go. I'll whistle on my way out the door.
You're an asshole.
Pay me out for my sick time that you owe me, and I'm gone. See ya.
You son of a gun.
Well, come on, you cannot, and this also applies to people. This statement also applies to people who are temping. Okay, let's put it this way: if you're
a temp, you need to expect that you can be fired at any point. You're a temp.
I knew a guy who was temping at a job, and he was spending a lot of money. He was telling me, "Oh, you got to buy this, you got to buy this," and at the time, I was a temp too. And I looked at him one day and I said, "Dude, I'm not going to make a financial investment when the company I work for is not making a financial investment in me."
Amen.
And he looked kind of weird, but I guess at the same time, even if you work for a company, you should not put that. I mean, you should work your hardest, do what you got to do, but you can't be putting too much of an emotional investment into it because then you're headed in for a crash because they do not give a shit about you.
They really don't. You can be gone at any point.
You're not going to be on the same baseball team forever. It doesn't matter. Loyalty means.
You're like, oh, there goes Johnny.
Like, that's a good one.
He started a Dodger. He'll end a Dodger.
Not today. Not today, unfortunately.
So, all right, Eva. What's this? Is M.A.D.E NYC?
Yeah, it's M.A.D.E NYC on there. And we're also going to put a spin on this as well. It's going to be a show, a web series within the online magazine. So we look forward to starting that up as well. So it's going to be quite interesting.
If you need any movie reviews, then knock on our door.
Absolutely. I definitely will.
All right.
Which reminds me, hang on, before we go, did you see Baggage Claim?
No, I did not see that movie.
You have no intention of going to see it.
Did you see it?
That's why I'm asking you.
Brian, I'm trying to end a beautiful promo for Eva's product. You write down whatever ideas you have, and you come back next week.
You come back to this.
Baggage Claim, he says. Baggage Claim. Where did that come from?
That's Brian. That's your DJ name, Baggage Claim.
Make that excess.
Brian's DJ Collateral Damage.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
All right, Eva.
So crazy.
I mean, you are logical and calm and smart, and I'm sure
everything you want in a woman. Yeah.
I'm sure everything. I'm everything's going to go good. You got the right driving that ship over there at MadeMag.NYC.com.
Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Always a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, Eva.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Any final words to say, George and Brian?
Very informative.
Yes.
I'm speechless.
You always are. How you guys?
Yeah, but I think it's more profound now. That's all.
Yeah, I'm a very professional interviewer. You didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know you could take over like that.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week, I guess, at Shooting the Ish. Remember, shootingtheish@gmail.com. Leave us questions. If you want to leave us a comment, leave us a 30-second MP3 comment. We'll play it on the air. If you have a review of a movie or a TV show or something going on in the news, please let us know. We'll talk about it. Or if there's something you want to hear about. So check us out at shootingtheish.com. You can get the podcast there in MP3 form. You could also go to iTunes. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/shootingtheish. So thank you guys very much.